are all aware that in the recent past, the rise in doping cases has gone very high in the last 1 year or so, because doping is not a new thing here in Kenya. Doping goes back all the way from 1988 when we had the first case. But then it has come up all the way until now that in 2016 there was a requirement that we have an anti-doping organization in Kenya. You know that we didn't have that one before, and that is when ADAC was set up and was established by the government of Kenya through the approval of World Anti-Doping Agency. And so they have got their own responsibility. We have our own as Athletics Kenya. And then thereafter, World Athletics also came up with Athletics Integrity Unit in 2017 that now takes care of not just doping alone, but it takes care of all other integrity matters in terms of athletics. And so we are working together as a team, starting from AIU, Athletics Integrity Unit, Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, Athletics Kenya, and all of us. And so we feel that the cause of this rise all of a sudden within this 1 year, maybe it is because of the COVID pandemic that hit this country in 2020. And therefore, all the sporting activities, both here in Kenya and in the world, were interrupted. And so you remember that we had to close the camps, all the camps here in Kenya because of that particular issue. And the athletes went for almost 2 years without a single event. And you know, when they are used to prize money, when they are used to appearance money and so forth and so on, and they had families. They were not in the camp. They went home. They could not train because there was nothing to train for, and at the same time, of course, taking care of the families and so on. So they never earned any single money that particular time. So when they started coming up again now, and they are required, of course, to perform well in their championships, particularly the road runners. I think that is the biggest group that has been affected. The marathoners, the road runners have been affected in this particular case. And so, and you know, for a marathoner, you can run a maximum of three events in a year. Some, of course, do only 2. And so for one to recover those 2 years that they lost, they got into, I think, these issues of getting a bit careless. And I must say that I think we also had quite a few unscrupulous fellows, particularly middlemen and brokers, that got into this issue and started talking to the athletes and started convincing the athletes that they can do better without proper preparation, without hard training. And this is what has come up into being this. And so we now have got a new entry into this issue, and these are the middlemen, the unscrupulous fellows, who are now dealing with the athletes directly and giving them drugs, giving them injections and prohibited substances and so on, convincing them that they can go and win without hard work. This is the problem that we are going through, and it is wrong. We don't want to see this going ahead. So the numbers have grown into very, very high levels. That is why we are in this situation, and we have done all the education that is required to the athletes to tell them about the dangers of doping, and we continue doing that. We have gone as far as doing the under 20. In fact, at the moment we are concentrating on the under 20 so that as they grow up, they know the dangers of this kind of thing. And so definitely the AIU and World Athletics have taken issue with this, and they feel that we need to do more. We need to do more, and for this reason, I want to thank the Waziri here very sincerely for having considered these issues and the challenges that we are going through, and they have considered and said they need to now increase the funding for the purpose of testing the athletes and of course registering the camps and the coaches. Why am I talking about testing the athletes? Is because AIU has got its own testing pool, registered testing pool of a number of athletes that are at the top level, the elite athletes. The second tier of athletes are being tested and the responsibility given to Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya. And you can imagine the number of testing that they have got to do and the expense that they get into. The number of events that we have got in Kenya, both in Kenya and abroad, are so many that if they have to test everybody, then even the funding and the budget that they have been given will definitely not be enough. And so I want to thank once again Waziri for considering that and seeing the importance of increasing the funding so that ADA can test all the athletes. In Kenya, we have got a big number of athletes, one of the biggest in the world. And so for ADA to cover all of them in terms of testing is quite expensive. We in Athletics Kenya, we are required to make sure that the athletes that go for international championships, and particularly Olympics, Commonwealth, World Championships, and all the others, all the athletes must have been tested and cleared by ADAC and by AIU. And so you can see the amount of money that is going there.
Government is working very closely with Athletics Kenya to make sure that we clean our sports of doping. You'll bear me witness that since I came into office, I have really made anti-doping one of my key agenda. And the government's position remains very, very firmly zero tolerance to doping. And as I've said repeatedly, we are keen to make doping very expensive, so that if we catch you involved in doping from any angle, from any point of the compass, we will deal with you decisively. And I have repeatedly sent a warning that whether you are an athlete or a coach, agent, whoever you are, or a doctor, if you are engaged in doping in any manner, your days are numbered. We have sent a very clear message to World Athletics that doping in Kenya, even with the numerous cases reported, is not state-sponsored. It's definitely not state-sponsored. And you cannot compare Kenya's situation to other countries where it has been proven beyond any shadow of doubt that doping is sponsored by the state. Here in Kenya, the state is at the forefront in fighting doping. So our case is very different. And so it's unfortunate that we are now ranked in category A, being the top band of the worst offenders in doping in the world, sitting side by side by countries where it is proven that the state has sponsored doping. That is the sad reality. And it is true that Kenya is listed as an agenda at the next meeting of the Council of World Athletics. And it is listed as an agenda for possible sanctions being taken against us as a country. We believe as government that any action against Kenya by the World Athletics Council would be drastic, it would be devastating, but we also believe it would be unwarranted. What we need is not action against the Kenyan flag. We need action against criminal elements, individuals that are involved in doping. And that is why government is offering Athletics Kenya 100% support in the war against doping. We have committed an additional $5 million, that is about 600 million Kenya shillings a year for the next 5 years to aid the war against doping. And we expect those resources to be deployed by Athletics Kenya, by EDAC, in testing, in investigation, and even enforcement across that whole spectrum of taking decisive action against doping. So we are very serious. I have been in personal contact with Lord Sebastian Coe, the president of World Athletics. We have exchanged correspondence. I have written to him, he has written to me. We are aligned in our thinking that what Kenya needs is support to end doping, not suspension or banning. That will not be useful for us. I am also happy to report today that our investigations and our enforcement measures are starting to bear fruit. Yesterday, we arrested a suspect in a ring that is under the radar of government investigation. And we have deployed a whole retinue of the security apparatus on this mission because it's a matter of national security, it's a matter of national importance. So one Thomas Kipiatich Kito was arrested at Mailimne within Eldoret yesterday and was arraigned in court today. And his arrest followed investigations that were launched following numerous doping reports and allegations, which has led us to this situation of a possible ban by World Athletics. Now, this gentleman, Thomas Kipiatich Kito, is also known as Ali Tamer Kamal. He's a former elite athlete who was competing internationally for Qatar after acquiring Qatari citizenship. He also holds a Ugandan passport where he's known as Thomas Kiprotich. A search was conducted in his residence where Festam gel, 2 blister packets of prednisolone tablets were discovered alongside Ugandan passport number B0442952 bearing the names Thomas Kiprotich. This particular person, it has been alleged and investigations are proving, has been mentioned alongside accomplices who are still at large, and we are after them. They have obtained money from athletes who have failed doping tests. They have even presented themselves as anti-doping agents officials in the past. Investigations have also proven that he has received various amounts of money into his M-Pesa accounts and a sum of 500,000 shillings into his Equity Bank, as well as accounts of his accomplices from the athletics world. I mean, these are money from athletes. Other reports currently under investigation are that he has been engaged in administering prohibited substances to athletes, and in some cases have been referring to people who would administer the prohibited substances on them. He refers you where to get this kind of service. So he has been arraigned before the Magistrates Court in Eldoret today to answer to 7 counts. We are also hot on the pursuit of his accomplices. I share this information in public interest, in good faith, to send a very clear message that when we say we are going to make doping extremely expensive, we mean exactly that. And that we have put together a multi-agency effort involving the security apparatus, Athletics Kenya, EDAC, to make sure that we nab those who are involved in this evil scheme. And so we want to assure the country that government is doing everything humanly possible to nab those who are involved in this, and most importantly, to convince World Athletics that Kenya does not deserve to be banned over this matter of doping, because we are doing everything that needs to be done. And we have every confidence that we'll win this war against doping. Thank you very much. We expect World Athletics to be fair. We expect World Athletics to consider the measures that government is taking to be serious, substantive measures, and we expect them to be supportive of Kenya in this war against doping, and we believe we'll win this war. Yes, absolutely. It's multi-agency. As I said already, it's multi-agency. We have investigative agencies involved. We have prosecutorial agencies involved. So yes, we have health agencies involved. So it is multi-agency, because we believe this is not a war that one agency can win. It is something that is so complex. It involves so many interests. We are doing it multi-agency. Asanteni sana. There's a new sheriff in town. There's a new sheriff in town. Have some faith in this new sheriff. And this is now business as usual. It's not any more business as usual. It is business unusual. Give me 6 months. I'm only a month old. Give me 12 months. This is a general. This is a real general. So please, this is a matter of strategic national importance. This is a matter of national security. This is a matter of national pride. There is a new sheriff in town. Things will be done differently. General.
Thank you. Yes, you know, when people are arrested and some people are willing to talk, it depends on what they say. It depends on what they say, and you know that one now goes beyond what we can do. If something has got to go ahead and be acted upon, there's so much that needs to be done. Kisorio, of course, came, and what he said did not convince whoever received that information, and so you get stuck because you cannot go beyond that if it is not convincing and so forth. Well, Rita Jepto, I think it was a different case, but at least we can see her now trying to come back, and we wish her well. We have not refused anybody to come and run. There's a time we had said, for example, that anybody who was doped will not wear the Kenyan colors again, but I think after a lot of other discussions and considerations, it was felt that these are still Kenyans. We didn't want to punish people who had already been punished that time. So we gave an opportunity. But if this thing continues, then we go back to all those. And it's not fair. So I want to advise the athletes, let us get rid of this. When you have an information that is credible, then come and we listen to that information, and I'm sure even Adak and everybody else would be willing to listen to that credible information.